Earth has three main layers. We live on the outside layer, called the crust. This layer is made of solid rock. The mantle is the layer below the crust. It is made of solid rock, and partly liquid rock. The very center of Earth is the core. The outer core is made of hot liquid rock. The inner core is solid iron and a natural nuclear plant that heat up the iron. The core is so hot that it heats the entire mantle. Most volcanoes form at the junctions of tectonic plates. Tambora and the other volcanoes in southern and western Indonesia, by contrast, are the result of two plates moving together. One, the plate that is carrying Australia, is diving below the other, which carries Eurasia. As the Australian plate sinks, it melts, and some of the magma thus produced erupts violently to the surface. Indonesia is made up more than 17,000 islands that lie southeast of Asia's mainland. Sitting along the Ring of Fire, at least Indonesia have 130 active volcanoes. Some of them on the island of Sumbawa in southern Indonesia is Tambora. Barely rumbled for at least 5,000 years. On April 1815, Mount Tambora exploded and claimed 71,000 lives, either by pyroclastic flow, lava tsunami, or famine. Cooling climate globally the world for a decade. Snowfall in the summer. During this dry and cooler climate, Napoleon's army, defeated by the Hydroses and Waterloo, when Napoleonic wounded, British Empire handed over the Guinea back to Dutch administration, destroying Sir Thomas Stanford REFFLES's plan to educate Highlanders for the first time. Foods became rare, horses became food, transportation fell to crisis. A German civil servant, Baron Karl von Drake, introduced a brand new transportation tool in 1817, called Laufmaschine, to solve this transportation problem. Decades later, the world called it bicycle. In 1978, Tom Ritchie went on to make frames for a company called Mountain Bikes in the United States. This kind of bike has been designed to handle rougher, stepper, and wetter terrain. Soon Ritchie design became popular, and we know it as Mountain Terrain Bike, or MTB. On October 2010, MTB rendezvous with their very ancestry, Mount Tambora. This is not the first time for MTB meet their grandmother. At least there were two teams of cyclists reached Tambora's summit from Pancasila Track. But this week will be the first attempt from Doropeti Track.
Sumbawa Island, situated more than 1,600 kilometers from Jakarta, Indonesia's capital. You can fly to Sumbawa Island easily unless bring your bicycle. First of all, your bike might be well packed in a special bag. Secondly, prepare more money for a baggage surcharge. Ticketing officer have no idea about how much of this kind of surcharge. This bicycle, a full suspension mountain bike, has 25 kilograms in weight, and mine, a hardtail mountain bike with 15 kilograms in weight, has been charged around 500,000 rupiah. My bicycle consumed around 300,000 rupiah. Fortunately, Lion Air's cashier accept payment in debit and credit card, so for a while we are safe for cash deficit. Keeping cash is something that we should handle seriously. Eastern Sumbawa Island have only two national bank that running by government. Automated teller machine is rare. We need cash for transportation, foodstuff order, and fly back to Jakarta. We must very cautious about spending in cash during our trip. From Jakarta we transited in Ngurah International Airport, Bali, and had been transferred to smaller airplane from Wings Air Service, Lion's sister company. Smaller airplane was needed due short runway in Bima's airport. Based on flight schedule, this airplane planned to arrive at Bima in the next 1 hour. Unfortunately, the first attempt to land has failed due to bad weather. After flying over Sumbawa Island nearly 1 hour, the airplane returned to Bali for refueling and waiting for better weather. This is a blessing in the disguise. In some point of view, I have plenty of chance to capture Sumbawa Island from above, from north to south side, including Tambora. After refueling, our airplane moved to runway, tried another luck, overcast shadowing our route, and planned thoroughly and figuratively. If the second attempt failed, our plane to Tambora will be uncertain. We will stuck for a night in Bali, or worse forget our plan to Tambora helplessly. Soon after landed, we moved to car and rushing to Tambora that night. We lost nearly 4 hours today. From Tambora we continue to Doropeti Village, for 4 hours drive to the west. According to previous planned, we buy all of supplies in Tambora and begin the fun on Sunday morning. Actually we only can't filled a half that night, and must struggle to complete the rest tomorrow. In short, we lost one day.
Time is 25 minutes to 6 p.m. There's no time difference between Bima and Denpasar. Please remind children of
Udara cerah berlangit biru, ingin aku bersenang-senang bersama.
The trip began with the sunny day 25th October 2010 from Doropeti with the Camp 1 through open and flat savanna. It was fun track for cyclists, contrast with our teammates rushing walk to avoid sooner radiation. The fun for them began when we had entered the forest. We take a rest a while in Camp 1 about 1 hour. We have our first lunch in between Camp 1 and Camp 2 just a couple minutes before Cupex's rear wheel had deflated. He was then choose not to fix it until we reached the caldera. After Camp 1, the jungle became denser. Instead of riding our bike, it was the bike which riding on us. We were getting slower in a dense and humid forest. The first day of this trip ended in the twilight. We agreed to open our tent and take a rest in open area deep in the jungle, walking in the dense forest with bicycle in the night, as we are all agreed that night is dangerous or at least far from fun. In the second day, 26th October 2010, we still struggle with the dense forest for an hours. Escape from a dense forest, our favorite creatures had been waiting for leeches, rising from dead leaves, leeches using our wheel as elevator to reach us. Surely this is the first time they met bicycle. Camp 2 had situated in middle of heaven of leeches. We not have our lunch here because of no one interested. We just eat the papaya and walk again. Try to reach Camp 3 before evening. When the sun had set, we had already escaped from Leech's area but failed to reach Camp 3. Exhausted during second day trip, we agreed to open our tent just above Leech's area. Actually Camp 3, nearly only about 1 hour walk above our position, but with bicycle and stinging nettle that has been waiting for, it would have needed 3 hours or more to reach that campsite. After late dinner, Cupex turned on his smartphone. Suddenly his gadget had been flooded with bad news. South Pagai Island in Manduai had been struck by earthquake and tsunami, claimed many lives. Second bad news was about Mount Merapi in middle of Java. The pyroclastic flow had destroyed one of higher hamlet in the southern slope, claimed lives, including Merijan. He is one of prominent person for people of Merapi. Both location is special for me. In 2007 I had trained some student of Manduai in Cyber Island to make and launch water rocket. I had hiked Merapi for 6 times. Also have friend who living in Mirapni. The third day, 27th October 2010, was the toughest part. Our water supplies had short. We take a rest a while in Camp 3 and try wild strawberry. The panoramic scenery is beautiful here. We can see both summit and Doropeti from here.
Rasanya manis.
Rasanya manis.
Iya.
Soon after Camp 3, and the worst part has come. The track became steeper open, and there were stinging nettle everywhere. Our water supplies quickly drained due sunny day. We had instant noodle as breakfast, but the power of noodle lasts just in 2-hour walk. At noon, we have our lunch in Camp 4. The scenery from here was really stunning. What a wonderful place to have lunch, but also heralded the toughest and dangerous part ahead. The path ahead was the most steeper and dangerous. We will walk through a valley surrounded by cliff. Please be mindful, but that advice seems contradict with another fact. The part of cliff, the path almost free from fallen branch. It is possible to ride with care, starting from Camp 4. Notice, I'm not suggest you to ride here unless you are really experienced in downhill. No matter how valuable and advanced your bike. Experienced means you know better than anyone in this planet about your skills. Your track had clamped by steep cliff, and once you're slipped you are surely hurt, even at an instant. Part ended right in the middle of valley. The next path is the steepest, according to John. Actually, it is possible to camp in middle of valley, but with bicycle. The next day will begin with toughest part. Instead of camping, John was forcing us to attack the steepest part that evening. Just before sunset, we had reached the edge of Caldera. The steepest, toughest, and dangerous part has passed, and the sunset scenery becomes snack for our eyes. Our camp, later called Caldera Camp, rising less than 12 meters from Caldera edge, wind has attacking our camp by night, freezing our interest to rejoice this moment with big dinner. I cannot sleep that night, exiting starving, and also anxious about my brake system. My bike has using fluid brake. It is surely safe for ride, but threatened by wind to freeze. Do my brake system can hold on? All of us wake up early to prepare summit attack phase. All about good news. This morning, my brake system hold on against windy night. Cleopex had repaired his wheel. Morning in Tambora, 28th October 2010 was a sunny day, also a big day. Today two bicycle while standing in the summit from Doropeti Track, the toughest track for the first time, but the fun began early. We were testing our bicycle with a spot race in the edge of Caldera. Chiapas was racing against John, was racing against Felix. After breakfast, John, Felix, and Budiano begin marching to the summit. Chiapas and me has been busy to record this memorable events. After a relatively easy track compared with yesterday, our bicycle arrived at the highest point in Mount Tambora. Now let me interview my teammate for you. As a true hiker who accompanied two crazy cyclists, they were deserved the address.
Ngos-ngosan dulu ya. Nama saya Budiono, asal dari Tangerang, berangkat ke Sumbawa sendiri, ketemu teman-teman di Doropeti, yaitu Bang Undik dan Bang Cupik, mendaki Gunung Tambora bersama-sama. Saya ini sudah berada di puncak Tambora dengan ketinggian 2731 mdpl. Sangat mengagumkan puncak Tambora.
Nama saya Vegus, R87. Status saya jadi porter. Kita berada di puncak Tambora, ketinggian 2731. Pendakian ke-9, jalur Doropeti, 3 hari, 2 porter, baru kali ini. Bagi kawan-kawan yang mau naik pakai sepeda, tolong gunakan 4 porter dalam 2 sepeda. Hari ketiganya kita sudah ada di Caldera, di puncak Tambora. Kita rencananya mau turun lewat jalur Pancasila. Ada 4 jalur. Latiku, jalur Doropeti, jalur Pancasila, dan Kawindatoi. Yang bisa pakai sepeda 3 jalur, jalur Latiku, jalur Doropeti, sama jalur Pancasila. Ya bagi kawan-kawan yang mau coba jalur Doropeti, silakan aja hubungi saya ke puncak. Lewat jalur Doropeti hubungi saya ke nomor 081 757 21443.
We were walking and cycling down to Pancasila soon after down from summit. We have to camp in Camp 3 that night. Our food supplies had last here. That night we hear thundering rainfall in the summit. Pretty lucky for us, we have sunny day since started from Doropeti until arrived at Camp 3. Weather is not our concern since now. Pancasila Track not so easy as ordinary downhill or cross-country cycling. I cannot simply riding down like I had experienced in Bersepeda Track, Mount Tambora, East Java, December 2009. Of course, it was a down path, but stinging needles, fallen branches, and leeches as if conspire against us in the same time. But I accepted that conspiracy, if any, as fun rather than problem. I had prepared for this part with full helmet, elbow, and foot protector. It works as should be. Only fallen branches or tree can force me to stop and walk from this down mountain chapter. Friday afternoon, 29th October 2010. This down mountain chapter has finished in Pancasila Village under heavy rainfall, but riding a bike during a cat and mouse rain is also fun. We love dirt. We stay for one night in Successful House. It is official base camp for tourists who hiking from Pancasila Village. Officially our trip has ended, but unofficially, tomorrow we will ride from Pancasila to Doropeti. It was also fun. Once held on Earth, Mount Tambora is a heaven for biodiversity today. Volcanic material from a notorious eruption nearly 2 centuries ago made a wonderful life exist, then evolved. This chapter will focus on information about the richness of biodiversity around Doropeti Track based on our experience. This chapter will tell you about creatures within track to avoid and to eat in the next chapter. Stinging nettle. This plant has many hollow stinging hairs, called trichomes, on its leaves and stems, which act like hypodermic needles that inject histamine and other chemicals that produce a stinging sensation when contacted by humans and other animals. This sensation usually won't last. In 1 hour, nearly 80% of Pancasila Track is a dense and high stinging nettle. Fortunately, we have only halfway along Doropeti Track, the same species also common in the Mount Tambora in East Java. You can easily avoid stinging contact with this plant while you are walking, but the problem is while you are riding a bicycle. To make the matter worse, the down mountain party has begun in Pancasila Track. Combining downhill skills and body protector to avoid stinging are keys to enjoy this trip. Indonesian hikers, especially Javanese, shout aloud soon after contacted with this plant. Therefore most hikers called this plant as jancoan. This word figuratively means fuck you in humorously sense. All of us just laughed to each other after heard this word had shouted deep in the forest. The plant has a long history of use as a medicine and as a food source in Europe, Asia, and Native American. We had not heard a story about eating and using stinging nettle as native medicine here, at least not yet, but some local hunter here brave enough using some part of this plant to heal stinging sensation itself. I had told you about a creature which inject fluid to your body. Next part 1 will tell you about a creature which suck fluid from your body. Leech. This bloody predator has been waiting for you between Camp 1 and Camp 3 in Doropeti Track, and even worse, along 80% of Pancasila Track. Less in dry season, they became more aggressive in wet season. When you are about to hike after raining, it was sign that this tough predator has been waiting for you for their meal. Unfortunately, rain has fell the day before we were starting from Doropeti, tens of them using our wheel as elevator to reach our skin. Slower you are walking, leech coming to suck. Some of them had successfully penetrate our sock and had a private bloody party. Our medically inadvisable technique to remove a leech is to apply insect repellent. These cause the leech to regurgitate its stomach contents into the wound and quickly detach, then dead. But while too many leech climbing our bike and clothes, our ultimate weapon were scissoring them and cut them to 2 or more. Leech is harmless compared to mosquito. Some of cinema and novel it showed leeches as a bad animal for sake of money, but for me leech is heralding a good sign about Tambora's forest. Leeches were reflecting this forest still healthy, relatively free from chemical pollution, and also has more or less stable prey and predator link. Tourists like you clearly not their primary target. They were blood-sucking bigger animals like deer, primate, pig or snake. All bigger animal which live here would have been supported by a healthy forest. Leeches and stinging nettle are a part of your memorable fun. While you are hike Mount Tambora, I guarantee that it is more fun when you try to avoid them while riding your bike in downhill style for 2 kilometers per hour or more. I hope you can't agree more with me. Tambora's biodiversity make jungle culinary possible for us. The second part of chapter in praise of biodiversity is about our jungle culinary. Bread and sprout become our snack before first lunch.
Sekarang kita sedang menikmati makanan khas jalur Doropeti. Namanya awang tadi? Pucuk rotan. Mari kita coba. Bisa untuk menghilangkan dahaga dan boleh dibilang tumbuh di sepanjang jalan nih. Oke. Kalau ke Tambora, jangan lupa cicipi ini.
Walking deeper into the forest, John and Figus were begin collecting young fern leaves. Fern is a common plant in tropical wet and humid forest. It can be eaten directly, as our fellow primate do, but we choose to cook them. For lunch instead, we combine our fern sour soup with hot rice, jerked meat, and mangoes sambal. On average, chilies, onions, tomatoes, and mangoes became a part of our condiment supplies. Sour and hot became the main theme of our culinary taste, until our logistic last, from sambal to soup, all sour and all really hot. Sour and hot seems as sign that local food heavily influenced by Bugis. Our next jungle culinary was papayas fruit. We also can eat papaya leaves with sambal. According to John, this plant was growing inside Tambora's jungle with help of local hunter and logger.
Buah stroberi
Ditemukan di
pos 3,
ketinggian 1810.
810.
Oke. Kayak gimana rasanya?
Manis.
The third culinary menu was wild strawberry, smaller than commercial one. This kind of fruit can be found around Camp 3. The taste of wild strawberry more or less same as commercial strawberry.
Terus
melaporkan dari
pos 3
jalur Doropeti
Gunung Tambora. Terima kasih.
We are not yet explored Tambora's jungle potential food, especially animal. According to John, we had missed to try deer and shrimp during our 4 days trip. Deer is common here, contrast with Java. One can hunting deer legally. Tambora is one of DER's heavens, but it seems you will have problem with authority while try bring DER's antlers to Java. No need to catch and kill deer with your hand, just buy or trade it with something from local successful hunter when we meet them, according to John. Freshwater shrimp was another creature that we missed in jungle. This kind of aquatic animal can be easily caught in the river around Tambora, regarding Tambora deadly eruption 2 centuries ago, explaining the origin of freshwater shrimp inside this jungle is left to research. We need longer time inside the forest with me to dry. 4 days was not enough. Maybe we have plenty if our airplane has landed unscheduled on Saturday 23rd October 2010, but John has provided this meal in our farewell lunch on Saturday 30th October 2010. We leave the jungle with hope. I hope that you, our children, our grandchildren, and our grandchildren have the same opportunity as we have to taste this kind of culinary. This hope depends on sustainability of this forest.
Oke, kali ini kita akan mencoba melakukan dodonhilan di kaldera Tambora. Di sebelah sana puncak Tambora terlihat dengan jelas. Nanti tujuan kita ke sana, tapi sebelum sampai ke sana kita tes di sini dulu. Oke? Videonya